Okay, another short video on this DX949. The Clarifier mod has been done. Can show you guys on the frequency counter. I'll turn it all the way. I'm an AM. I'll turn it all the way to the left. Let me get this on. Okay, I'm supposed to be on channel 31 right now. 27.315. There we go. So that's with the clarifier all the way to the left. Let me start turning it. We'll turn it all the way to the right. So you don't get a ton of slide. There's another modification that can be done to increase. I don't think it's needed. Really, you're only doing this to use it on sideband. That's my only reason that I wanted this on this radio, was for sideband. Come on. There we go. Whoop. Touchy little thing. There we go. Got these fat fingers. So it's not perfectly centered. Again, this radio drifts, so it's kind of what it is. Even when you open the clarifier, it doesn't. You can go in and turn those tuning cans and adjust them. I lined it up with this radio. These are pretty much spot on frequency. There's not much question of that with these. So, and within 20 minutes, half an hour later, this is usually what ends up happening. But you can see my transmit's right on with that radio too. Right there. We're keyed up. Right there. Up. So sideband. A little lower. Not sure what the mic. Oh, I got my mic shut off. Hello, check, check. 1 2 1 2, check, check. Hello, check, check. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5 6, check, check. So it's good. It's definitely ready to talk sideband, that's for sure. If there was anything out there, but there's not right now, so that's why we're doing this. But when there is, it's definitely ready to talk. Yep, whoop. There we go. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. And if I turn the clarifier like this, now we're way off in another spot. 1 2 3 4. That's all the way to the other side right there. 1 2, you can see. All the way over. So it's definitely working. Doing what it should. There we go, right there. 1 2 3 4 5 6. And see, they all ended up just a little bit. I mean, in reality, you could take that knob off and probably stick it on right in the middle, but I mean, this is a CB. It's not a precise. It's not designed to be super stable anyways on frequency. So it's working how it was designed. We did the modification. So now I can adjust when there is drift. Basically, you hear people, you tune them in, and you're right there with them. So I like the option. I think it's worth doing if you want to use this radio on sideband. Here's this radio transmitting. Kind of blowing the doors off the front end of this thing, but here's the ICOM transmitting. Both radios are hooked up to dummy loads. 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 6. Check 1 2. So I think the ICOM's actually turned down to 10% too. It's only doing like 10 watts, but blowing the doors off this one on receive anyways. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Check. So it's definitely working. And I did a slight adjustment to the transmit side of this radio. It's doing about 16 on sideband, about 20, 22 on AM. Under a tone on AM, it's doing about 15.5 watts with the 4 watt dead key. That's to keep the waveform clean, right at 100%. So you always end up doing a little more with voice. And I like these radios. I think they're a good looking radio for what they are, and you don't have to unlock the clarifier. I just prefer that personally because I hate drift. From everything I've read and understood about these radios, seen people comment about them, is that they tend to drift a lot on sideband. And I noticed it myself when I did the frequency alignment, that I would set everything up exactly how the service manual said, and then I don't know, a half hour later, come back to the radio and it's off 75, 80, 90, sometimes even 100 hertz. So to me, that's not really acceptable, but that's how these radios are designed, and there's not much you can do about it other than do that mod or just deal with it. And people are going to tell you that you're probably off frequency all the time, and I guess if you use sideband, that's going to get old. So this way it kind of alleviates that. And I think let me pull this radio up real quick. Another radio, for example, I remember when these first came out, they didn't have that option. You had your clarifier, but it was just receive only. And these were prone to drift as well. You could never really stabilize them right in. You could go into the service menu and you can adjust lower and upper transmit. And then, half hour later, it's going to change on you. So I think President even decided that it was time they incorporated that into the software when they designed the plus version of this radio. They allowed you to go into the menu and make that clarifier work in receive only, transmit only, or transmit and receive, or I think you can even just turn it off. So I run this one in transmit and receive, just like this is now. So these radios have that option. The Striker 955 has the option in the menu. The Anytone 5555N, the AT6666 does. The CRT SS9900 does. There's probably other ones too. So that's telling you right there that the manufacturers are doing it because they know that the radios aren't going to be stable. They know that they're going to drift, and I think that they're just doing that to make it easier on the user. They'd rather do it themselves, I think, than have someone else do it, a technician or someone. Maybe you get someone that doesn't know what they're doing, and they end up burning the board, damaging the radio. So, and I think it's nice that they have that feature coming from the factory. Now you still have to modify them if you want to use them on CB and everything else. So, I mean, that's still, well, the Anytone, I think it's just a button, hold a button in, and it gets you does what you want it to do. Same with the CRT. So, but anyways, that's my take on an open clarifier. I like them. I use them. I've never had an issue with someone saying, "Hey, you're off frequency," when I use an open clarifier. Or I've never had an issue with talking to 3-4 people at the same time. With guys saying, "You keep changing frequency," and everything else. So I've never had an issue with that. That's usually the biggest complaint I hear guys say, "Well, I don't want an open clarifier because if so-and-so is running one and he's running one and this guy's not, and I'm running one, we all can't talk because everybody's constantly going like this to talk to each other." Well, if everybody has one and everybody tunes into each other, that should be the end. And if the couple guys don't have it, well, you just tune into them when they talk. I mean, it's not hard to tune into someone when they're talking. You're hearing them, you just tune in till they sound natural. I mean, it's kind of like on a ham rig. You don't have a clarifier. If someone's out there talking, I can either use this RIT or I can go to this. And I can turn this till they sound natural. And then when I want to talk, I can go back to that. So I'm kind of a fan of them. I know like some of the older radio operators don't like them. I guess I don't understand the argument saying that, I can't talk on sideband with that open clarifier. People constantly saying that they don't understand me, and I can't carry on a conversation with my friends because I'm constantly going like this. Well, if you just leave your radio right where it is, and then even if they don't have an open clarifier and they tune their clarifier to you, I mean, even if you slightly have to turn yours a little bit to understand them clearly, it's not a big deal. Just put it back to where it was when you talk. There's nothing wrong with moving this a little bit. That's what it's designed to be done. You're just simply moving your transmit when you want to talk, and then when you receive, you just turn it to hear people. So it's not that hard of a thing to really understand, but again, some people hate it, some people like it. I'm a person that likes it. I think on a radio like this, it's kind of needed for sideband. Now, if you're just going to run a radio like this on AM, I'd say just leave it alone. Most guys that generally only run AM could care less about sideband. So at that point, just leave it the way it is. If you do buy this radio to use sideband, you're probably going to use it more on sideband than you are AM. So it's generally what I see with radio operators. You either like sideband, and if you do and you're buying a radio that has it, you're going to use it a lot. If you don't like sideband but you're still buying a radio that has it, you're just buying it because you like the radio, you like the features it has. You don't really care about sideband. You might occasionally go there, but it's not really your thing. Then I wouldn't suggest doing it. But it's a pretty simple mod. It's on cbtricks.com. The one that I did was the option 2. There's a couple components that you remove off the board, and then you solder a 8-volt wire to a I think it was pin 1 of one of the, I think it's J9, I don't remember right now, and then you just do the alignment. There's 3 tuning slugs in there, which, I mean, you get as close as you can. Like I lined it up with this radio, And after an hour, it kind of settled about right here, even though when I lined it up, it was 12 o'clock. So it's not a big deal. Nothing to really lose any sleep over. These don't have to be always at 12 o'clock. It's kind of, I guess, a CB thing. A lot of CBs, some of them even had a detent where it would stick right there at 12. This doesn't have it, so you can put it wherever you want. But I find that about right there. Well, let's check AM now. This video has been going for 15 minutes. Let's see if it changed. Yeah, see, it did change now. So, let's see. Yeah, it's real touchy anyways. It's hard to do it with one hand. Well, I'm right-handed and I'm holding the camera with my right hand and I got the mic keyed up in my left hand and I'm trying to, there we go. So it may have drifted a little bit towards the right way, but oh, there it goes back to 10. It's not really critical to be right on, but again, I usually look at this. And that gives you a good idea. You can see it slide. So that's at the slide of it. The counter's reading 99. So anyways, that's it. I guess I made this a little longer than I wanted to, but that's the Clarifier mod on the radio. Hope maybe people that were wondering about the Clarifier mod on this radio, hope that gives you some insight on it. I haven't really seen too many videos about it, so figured I'd make one. Have a good one.